Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been following the Falcons closely over the past few seasons, you know that one of the biggest issues has been that persistent lack of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. That's been a real sore spot for Atlanta, especially considering how much they've invested in that side of the ball. And it's no secret that their defense, particularly the pass rush, has struggled to make a consistent impact. Last year's rankings tell a story of a team that ranked 31st in sacks with just 31 on the season, a number that simply isn't good enough in today's NFL, where pressure and sacking quarterbacks translate directly into wins. For a team with aspirations of contending and making deep playoff runs, that's a glaring problem. And it's not just about a single player, it's about the overall pass rush unit and the way the Falcons have approached building that part of their defense. They tried to address it last year by trading for Matthew Judon from the Patriots, sending a third-round pick in exchange. Judon, who's been a consistent producer in New England, was supposed to be a game-changer for Atlanta's pass rush. But unfortunately, things didn't quite pan out the way they hoped. Judon recorded only 25 pressures and 6 sacks last season, numbers that are far below what he'd posted in his previous years with the Patriots, where he was a double-digit sacker and a major threat off the edge. That's right, last year was a bit of a disappointment for Judon. And for the Falcons, it meant that the need for a true, game-changing pass rusher was more urgent than ever. Because let's face it, if you want to compete in the NFC South and beyond, you need to get after the quarterback, force turnovers, and disrupt rhythm. The Falcons' defense ranked near the bottom of the league in pressure rate, and that's a huge concern. You can't win consistently in the NFL without a strong pass rush, especially when the division rivals like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or New Orleans Saints are potentially adding talent themselves. So, heading into 2025, it's clear that Atlanta's front office is back at that drawing board, looking for solutions. The NFL draft class for 2025 is packed with talented defensive linemen and edge rushers, giving the Falcons plenty of options to consider. But as we all know, free agency is also a prime avenue to add immediate impact players, especially veterans who can bring leadership and production right away. And when it comes to free agency, one name that's been making waves in the rumor mill and among analysts is none other than Khalil Mack. Yes, you heard that right, Khalil Mack, the Pro Bowler, the former Defensive Player of the Year, and one of the most disruptive forces on the edge over the past several seasons. According to NFL insiders and experts like Mike Jones from The Athletic, the Falcons are seriously considering making a splash in free agency and bringing in a player of Mack's caliber. And honestly, it makes so much sense. They ranked 31st in sacks last year, and adding a proven pass rusher like Mack could be exactly what the doctor ordered. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Mack is getting up there in age, and paying big money to an older player can be risky. But here's the thing, even in the later stages of his career, Khalil Mack remains one of the most disruptive players in the league. He's still capable of generating consistent pressure, and his presence on the field commands respect from offensive lines. Remember, he's been named to the Pro Bowl in each of the last 3 seasons with the Chargers, which speaks volumes about his talent and importance. The big question, of course, is whether the Falcons will be able to afford him. They don't have unlimited cap space, and overpaying for an aging star can backfire. But if they can find a way to free up some cash, maybe restructure some contracts or make strategic cuts, they could be looking at a scenario where Khalil Mack becomes a Falcon. And honestly, it would be a slam dunk signing from a football perspective. Imagine the impact of having Mack lining up opposite the opposing offenses, best blockers, creating pressure, and forcing quarterbacks to hurried throws. That could really elevate the entire defense. And let's remember, this isn't just about adding a veteran for the sake of it. Mack's experience, leadership, and ability to produce in clutch moments could be invaluable for a Falcons team that's trying to take the next step. It's about building a defense that can be feared, that can change games on its own. Plus, his presence would also help younger players develop. Guys like Arnold Ebiketie or other emerging pass rushers on the roster could learn a lot from someone like Mack. Of course, the NFL is a business, and the Falcons will have to weigh the financial implications. They need to be smart about how they approach this signing, avoiding any kind of overextension that could jeopardize their cap health in future years. But the potential upside is huge. With Mack on their side, the Falcons could see an immediate improvement in their pass rush stats, which in turn would boost their overall defensive performance and help them compete more fiercely within the NFC South. Looking at the bigger picture, Atlanta's strategy this offseason seems to be clear. They know they need to upgrade their pass rush if they want to contend. The draft will be a key part of that plan, but free agency might be where they find that instant impact player. Bringing in a veteran like Khalil Mack could be the kind of bold move that shifts the entire division landscape. And given the Falcons' recent history of aggressive offseason moves, I wouldn't be surprised if they're seriously in the mix for a player of Mack's caliber. Now, fans, I want you to think about this. A linebacker like Mack, who's been a dominant force for years, coming into Atlanta, bringing that intensity and that relentless edge rush that the team desperately needs. It could be a game changer, not just for the defense but for the entire team's confidence and swagger. Imagine the crowd at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the energy when Mack hits the field, and how that could elevate everyone around him. Of course, there are always questions. Will the Falcons be willing to pay the price? Will they be able to fit Mack's contract within their cap structure? And most importantly, will he want to come to Atlanta, a team that's been on the rise but still needs that final piece to become a true playoff contender? Those are the questions we'll find out in the coming weeks, but one thing is certain. The Falcons are definitely in the conversation when it comes to adding a premier pass rusher this offseason. And let's not forget, this move would send a message across the league. Atlanta is serious about winning now. It's about making a statement, about showing that they're not just building for the future, but also trying to capitalize on this window of opportunity. With a few strategic moves, including potentially signing someone like Mack, they could elevate their defense to a whole new level, making it a nightmare for offenses in the NFC South and beyond. The division has become more competitive, and Atlanta knows that if they want to be at the top, they've got to make bold moves. So, Falcons fans, as we watch this offseason unfold, keep your eyes on the potential signing of Khalil Mack. It's a move that could define this team's trajectory for the next few seasons. The team is clearly aware of their weaknesses and is looking to address them in a big way. The combination of draft picks, strategic signings, and maybe even some reshuffling of their cap space could set the stage for a more aggressive and dangerous Atlanta Falcons defense. And if they pull it off, watch out, because that could be the missing piece that propels them back into serious playoff contention, and maybe even a Super Bowl run sooner than we think. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this possible move? Do you think Khalil Mack would be the perfect fit for Atlanta's defense? Are you excited about the potential impact he could have? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion means so much to us and to the future of the Falcons. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, more news, and more insights into everything happening around the Atlanta Falcons. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep pushing forward as a family. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Falcons!